You are listening to Single Smart Female.
This is us letting it all hang out about your love life, examining Steph's dating experiences, and answering your hot topic dating questions. Just you, Steph, and me. No topic is off limits and no filters involved. This is Jen.
And I'm Steph. If you have a question about your love life that you would like us to answer, you can submit your question at singlesmartfemale.com. Hello, ladies, and welcome to show 13 of Single Smart Female. This is Steph, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jen.
Hello, ladies.
Jen and I are going to go ahead and jump right into our question. This question comes from a 29-year-old lady in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll call her Ms. Charlotte.
Because we did our homework and looked up all of the state information for North Carolina, and I'm sorry, I couldn't call you Miss Dogwood or Miss Cardinal or anything else because the stuff in North Carolina, the words are just not pretty whatsoever. The items might be pretty, but there was no sexiness in that. And we know, especially after the rest of you hear this question, we know you are much, much, much more than that.
So, Ms. Charlotte writes, just like you, Jen, I used to date one man at a time and focus on that one person.
I'm proud of you for not doing that anymore.
And now I don't want to do that anymore. One of the guys I'm dating is 4 years older than me. He has never been married nor has any children. It took me a while to give him my number, so I made him work a little. So far, we have been on several dates. We have been to nice, expensive restaurants, and he pays for everything. We also do simple things like go to the park and just spend time getting to know each other that way. He's a gentleman and very respectful. We communicate not daily, but every other day, and 90% he initiates. On our last date, we spent the entire day with each other. We went picture shopping for my home, we went to the mall, got dinner, and went back to his place. We got comfortable and watched a movie. He then started to give me a massage. And you know what happened next? The sex was amazing! We have talked since then, and we even have 2 trips planned for this year. We are going to the beach in July, and we are going to Puerto Rico for my birthday. We are not exclusive. My question is, what should I do next? Should I keep doing what I've been doing? Just go with the flow? I just don't want to put all my energy on him. There was a time when I was on a date with another guy and thought about him. So should I fall back a little? Or what? Help me!
Steph, I think that you should take the lead on this question today because this situation reminds me of somebody who is sitting across from me right now.
Well, in that case, Ms. Charlotte, I think you're perfect. I mean, totally amazing. Let's stop there and revel in how amazing you are. Okay. Anyways, but seriously, you are doing a lot of things really well, and I'm proud of you for that. Number one, the fact that you are no longer focusing on just one man at a time is very, very good for your love life. And the fact that, you made him work a little, it's clear that he likes you. If you guys are planning trips together and he's contacting you 90% of the time. And I think you're right, though. You should continue to do what you're doing, but also continue to add to your entourage. And it's okay that you thought about him on your other date. You like him. I mean, that's gonna happen. It happens to me. And it is tough. It's tough to keep yourself from focusing too hard on one man. But it is also kind of what keeps him on his toes a little bit. And like we have mentioned several times before, don't go telling him about your other dates. Don't go bringing him into all that information. You don't need to. Energetically, he can feel it when you're being pursued by other people. And that encourages him to pursue you as well. I don't know. I guess, and maybe I'm inferring something here, but I get the impression that maybe as things move further along, you start to worry about messing it up somehow. I have that fear a lot of the time where I feel like getting a man is easy. I can very easily pull guys into my life. I can get dates. I'm
And I can vouch for her. She does this very, very easily, and she does it well.
Yeah, I do. I'm pretty good at it. But once I start to, I don't know, really get into somebody or start a relationship with them, that's when things get a little bit scary for me, and things can oftentimes start to unravel. And I feel like maybe you're worried about something like that. And I get it. It's scary. And sometimes it's like, how do I maintain this attraction long term?
With all of that said, I have to add a little to this conversation, because in your submission, Miss Charlotte, you also added that you've been single for a year and you just got out of a 3-year relationship. You usually meet the guys that you meet when you're out with your girlfriends, or when you're at the gym working out, or part-time, and that you also work retail. So you have that availability of meeting people. Your question to us, of course, was, should I fall back? And I agree 100% with Steph. No, you don't need to fall back. Things are going really well. What I would encourage you to do is to take a moment and appreciate this and celebrate it. And you can do it, but with a journal. Very, very easy. When I was doing my dating adventures back in 2006 and 2007, I was writing daily in a journal, really celebrating everything that was happening to me, what I thought was great, what I thought wasn't great, all of it. And it gave me a grounding point each day of appreciation that I know energetically created more space for even more wonderful things to happen. I'd like to talk a little bit about Steph's fear that she brought up, and that's something that you might be experiencing as well, about whether you're going to mess things up. Things will only fall apart one of two ways. If he's not really truly meant to be your man, that's the first one. And the second one is if you actively sabotage this. And you can truthfully, subconsciously sabotage it as well. And I'm going to encourage you at this point, in order to not sabotage it, is to A, keep good boundaries, and B, beef up the talent in your mantourage, meaning you've got this amazing man. Yes, you're going to be focused on him sometimes, and that's okay. But in order to not hyper-focus on him before you guys have moved into an exclusive relationship, I would like you to make sure that the other guys that you're dating are high-quality guys as well. It's not abnormal to think of a guy when you're on a date with another guy. It does happen, but it's going to happen more frequently if you are dating guys that really don't even compare to him. So what you need to do instead is, if you're meeting great guys out, that's awesome. I would actually encourage you to try some online dating on some of the a little bit more expensive sites. So those guys who they're paying a little bit more to be there as well, because they're more interested in long-term relationships. And I can help you with that if you go to helpmeonlinedate.com, and I'll give you the first 2 chapters of our program, Irresistibility, for free to help you get that started. But that's exactly where I would tell you to start and encourage you to go to really increase, again, the talent in your mantourage. Because the only way to screw this up for you, that you can actually screw this up, is if you sabotage it and make it all about him all of a sudden, and he's not quite ready for that yet. But I'm going to say, I think you're doing an amazing job. I think you're doing some really, really great things. And I also want you to not only increase the talent, I want you to increase the adventure in these situations and have more fun. See about going on even more exciting dates and doing different things and really taking this dating adventure to another level. Because you can have an adventure over a lifetime with one man, but if you are not in a polyamorous relationship, if you're in an exclusive relationship with somebody, this is the chance that you have to really experience it with other people. So take advantage of that. You just got out of a relationship only a year ago. And I'm not saying don't go into another relationship, but I would encourage you to really take a hold of this moment and carpe the fuck out of that DM and, have a magical time. See what mischievous things you can get yourself into. See what experiences you can have. See what different types of men you can inspire to adore you.
You know, Jen, I'm just still stuck on beef up that talent. I'm thinking maybe get some beefy talent.
Well,
she does like to frequent the gym. Maybe she likes the beefy talent.
yeah, if you like the beefy talent, make sure they're not a complete meathead, because we all need someone to intellectually stimulate us at times. You can only use really, truly beefy talent for a short period of time before they become beefy boring. That just sounded silly, but you know what I mean. Good job, Miss Charlotte.
Yes, you're amazing. Today's episode is brought to you by Make Him Want You Again online class. If you would like to learn exactly what to do, say, or text to make yourself irresistible and unforgettable in his mind, meet us over at makehimwantyouagain.com.
Okay, lover girl, it's that time of the show where we get to talk about Steph's love life. And we have a lot of very juicy updates for you. So tell us, Steph, what's been going on in your love life?
Oh, man. Okay, so I guess I left off by telling everyone that my Latin lover was planning a move. Well, he has moved.
Yes, he did.
And the
I have to tell all you ladies out there, this is a lot for Steph to have to process, not only because it's her romantic life, and we all know how it feels to be that vulnerable and really care about somebody, and it's not working out exactly the way that you secretly hoped it would. So I hope all of you will give her lots of props for her willingness to be this vulnerable and to let it all hang out for you and be very honest and open about this specific situation.
Thank you, Jen. It is difficult. It's hard to talk about something that is so close to me.
Would you be okay if I kind of prompted you to help go through, let the ladies know what has actually happened so far, and then we'll talk about the feelings around it?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, actually.
We left off where you were talking about him planning a move. Now, the move has been executed. And before the move, I know that you had a conversation with him. Would you be willing to tell the ladies what the conversation was about?
Oh, I would love to tell the ladies about the conversation. So let me preface this with, I was always planning to share with him what I wanted out of the next steps as far as, once he moved and all of those things. I wasn't, however, prepared to do it as soon as I did. I was really hoping to wait until the day before he left because there was a very strong possibility that I was not going to get the response that I was hoping for.
I'm curious, though, why did you think that you weren't going to get that response?
We had a conversation a while back about how he was a little bit, bummed out about having started seeing me and knowing that he would be moving soon, and how he didn't want to do a long distance relationship. So the fact that I mean, come on, let's be honest, I was interested in continuing what we had. The fact that I wanted that, and knowing that there was
something different.
Exactly. I knew that I was putting myself out there for potential rejection
and heartbreak. With that said, I want to take it back when Steph and I started talking about the relationship she would be engaging with Latin Lover. I was very hesitant about saying, oh, yes, you should 100% go ahead and start dating this guy exclusively, even though you're not in a relationship yet. And I am not saying this because I want to in any way tell Steph that, hey, I told you so. No, what I knew was a possibility here. I do, by the way, before I even say that, I want to be very clear with all of you listeners out there. And what I truly believe about Steph's situation is that there is a huge possibility of something really, really beautiful coming out of this and a long-term relationship. With that said as well, I knew that she was going to hit some really hard romantic bumps that could have been, they wouldn't have gone away completely, but the feelings could have been lessened a little with Mantourage dating by having other interests in other men. But it's a path that she chose to do, and we as women get to choose the romantic path that we want to take. And so I applaud her for being her unapologetic romantic self. We have hit that bump in the road with some great upside as well.
Mm-hmm. Goodness, where were we?
You had the discussion with Latin Lover about what you really would like to see happen, and you knew that there was a huge possibility for rejection in that.
Yes. So here's what happened. I was going to wait until the day before he left to say the things that I wanted to say, just because I knew how difficult and awkward it would be for me to have to spend these last few days with him knowing, or potentially knowing, that he didn't want what I wanted. It just, I don't know. We went to dinner and he said some things that kind of prompted me, and I felt like I couldn't wait, and I had to say what I needed to say. And so I told him that I care for him very deeply, and I want to see where this goes. I want to continue what we've started. And his response was that he didn't want to do long distance, and that he already told me that, and he cares for me very deeply as well, but I knew that he didn't want to do long distance. And I was very adamant about, I'm sorry, you're really focusing on the fact that I want to do long distance. I don't really want to do long distance. Nobody fucking likes long distance.
Nobody does.
I'm not like, yeah, let's start a long distance relationship. I don't want to touch you, see you, or have any fun interactions with you for several weeks at a time, if not months. I just want to talk to you on the phone sometimes and be really sad that I don't get to see you. It's not. I love long distance relationships. And honestly,
how did you I know you responded to him in a specific way, and I remember you telling me about this, and it really he came back and hit you very, very hard. I thought the way you responded, by the way, was perfect and beautiful, but he still came back with something that hit you hard. So how did you respond?
Well, I wasn't surprised by his response, by his resistance to continuing, because I did know that he didn't want to do long distance. But I was, however, very confused.
Do you remember what you said to him, though, after he said he didn't want to do long distance?
Yeah, I said, one, I told him that he's hyper-focusing on the whole long distance thing, and that's not exactly what I was trying to say. I said that, somewhere along the lines, there was talk of other options. And I said, I've been in this situation where I didn't want to continue a relationship in general, and have used the distance as a really great excuse to get out of it, without being super hurtful to the other person. But I've also been in the reverse side of it where I did want to continue a relationship with somebody, but the long distance thing is a lot of work, and I didn't want to commit to anything that I couldn't make happen or make work. So in an effort to get some validation on what we had, I asked him, I said, can you just tell me, like, are you trying to, is this an easy way to end this because that's what you want? Or is it like, if we see each other along the way and it works out, then great. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I just don't want the pressure. And his response was, it sounds like you're saying the same thing. Only one gives you hope, and I don't want to give you hope.
Okay. Now I want to back up before we go into his statement, because I know that was extraordinarily tough for you. And again, Steph, thank you for being brave enough to share that with all of our ladies out there. I know a lot of these ladies have been in a moment like that where they've been willing to be vulnerable and it hasn't panned out the way that they wanted it to. But I want to tell you what I love most about Steph's statement is that she was vulnerable, but she wasn't needy. His response kind of smacked her back into place, no doubt. But we as women, if we're willing to be vulnerable without being needy, that's how we build our romantic courage. That's how we build our romantic muscle. Now, the good news is we have other things to share. We're not talking about there's a huge reconciliation here, anything else, but we have other things to share that has happened since then, since Mr. Latin Lover's statement of, I don't want to give you hope. But so I want to talk about all these different things and illustrate how romance, no matter what anybody says, is not black and white. Romance, no matter if he tells you, oh, by the way, just no, unless you've stalked the hell out of him, and that's a completely different scenario, and then you really do need to leave him alone. But romance in general, it is several shades of gray. Maybe not 50, but it's quite a few, and it's amazing and it's magical. And when you learn to play in the shades of gray, that is where real beauty and long-term love happens. With that said, her romance is not over, okay? And in fact, Steph has a few updates. Tell us what has happened since then. After she stops,
attractive.
Yeah, she just so you know, she's snotting all over herself right now. Very, very in great form, which we women like to do when we're upset. We snot all over things. Don't lie, you know you all do it. So no judgment here.
Honestly, I didn't think I was gonna. It's been almost a couple of weeks now, and so I didn't really think I was gonna have that strong of a reaction to retelling the story. But I guess
it is what it is, and
still a little raw.
Yeah, thank you for being raw.
Thanks. Okay, so that left us with a couple of awkward days. I'll be honest. Like, it was still good. We spent a lot of time together after all of that. To wrap it all kind of up with that conversation, I basically said, well, I think maybe somewhere along the way I miscommunicated what it was that I was looking for, and I maybe misinterpreted what you were looking for. And he kind of acknowledged the same thing, that the way that he was with me was not congruent with what he says that he wants now.
says that he wants is the key word, key phrase.
And so, which was on some level a little bit of a validation, but also just still sucks. It just fucking sucks when especially it's not like he was like, I'm just afraid of my feelings, or I don't want to set something up that I don't know I can sustain, or any of those things. Like, there was no big conversation about how much he actually wants to be with me. So I just had to be okay with what it was and get through the next couple of days and try and enjoy the time that we had left and move on from there. Which, we did. We spent some good last couple of days together. On the day that he left, I wrote him a letter. Because don't do this. It's not good for anyone. Not like, I just really want to be with you and I don't understand why you don't want to be with me. No, it was me wanting to acknowledge the times that we did have, how much I appreciated who he was in my life for that time. Because I really did want him to know that. And I, knew that if I were to try and express it verbally, it would just turn into me crying. And I didn't want that to be
You didn't want it to be misinterpreted.
Yeah, exactly. And so gave him that. Of course, he didn't read it until the next day or something. Which is, fairly common, honestly. Sometimes it's hard to...
I actually think it's a better thing. It gave him privacy to read it without the pressure of having to have a reaction in front of you, so he could genuinely take it in. I think that's actually a really, really good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, and actually when I handed it to him, I said, look, there's nothing in there that's uncomfortable. So don't worry. This is like some stuff that I wanted you to know. But anyways, he left while I was at work. When I got home, there were flowers waiting for me with a note. I miss you already. I hope you had as much fun as I did.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. What else?
P.S. This is the first time I put the bouquet together myself. Give me a break, lady. Or woman. Give me a break, woman. Just side note, I'm super into flowers. He knows that. I'm also, I guess, maybe I'm a little judgy about it. And I don't mean to be. I'm just really good.
With flowers.
Uh-huh. But he does a great job with the bouquets, and he's always said that, I just kind of talked to the ladies and they put it together nicely for me.
Okay, well, I want to point something out as Steph continues her story, but I want to point out his action here, which was he tried to make their transition apart special in a way. That's important, by the way. Okay, keep going. What has happened since then?
Since then, on his travels, there was a lot of updating, making sure hey, I made it here, or I made it there, and I'm, just very simple things. He checks in with me a lot. Then there was, for a while there, it was like every day, and then there was a day where he didn't contact me, and I was like, okay, here it comes. This is where the radio silence comes in. Because you know what? That's a thing that happens a lot, especially if, you end a relationship. It's hard. Even when the other person or you does the breaking up, it's still hard to just drop off the face of the earth or let it go. You're still connected in some way. So we had all these, little interactions here and there, and then I didn't hear from him, and I assumed, okay, here it is. This is where it gets quiet.
And that's where I stop you for a second, because I want to interject here and let women know and let this sink in that we've talked about this. I believe we talked about this in episode 1 and other episodes, where you always have to look at a man's actions over their words. And this is really important. Now, I'm not saying that they are 100% going to end up together. That, I'm not a fortune teller. I am not God. I'm not the creator. I'm not all of that. I cannot predict that with 100% accuracy. But I do know men do not keep in contact and do these little things that he is doing with Steph when they don't give a shit about you, when they thought that the relationship wasn't important. They might, on occasion, contact you once, maybe twice, to make sure that you're not cutting your wrist. But to keep any, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh and make it sound like cutting your wrist is actually funny, because it's not funny in any case whatsoever. I found the humor in talking about how men react to things, but they will not continue any kind of conversation with you if they don't truly give a shit about you. Okay? And Latin Lover has continued that conversation, and in fact escalated that conversation to the point that the other night, and this is, I want to tell this just because it's fun, he could not get a hold of Steph and called 3 times because he thought that maybe her neighbor snuck in and killed her. Which is code for, why the fuck aren't you answering the phone? Just so you know.
I was like, you called me 3 times? I really didn't know. I wasn't ignoring his calls. I passed out early because I worked really, really long day. But he's like, yeah, I called you 3 times and I texted you. Then I thought, maybe I'm being a little overbearing. I hope.
I'm paranoid.
I was like, oh, that's nice.
Okay. And I know underneath that, regardless of what happens, I know that Latin Lover has deep feelings for Steph. It is very hard as a woman for us to recognize that when we hear things such as, I don't want to give you hope. I don't want this. But I also know that was it yesterday, Steph, that he called about the plane tickets?
Yes.
He is checking out plane tickets right now about flight prices to see, well, he was just bringing it up randomly, but we all know. Come on, ladies, you get it. If you were talking to your best friend and she was telling you this, he wants to see her. Definitely. 100%. You don't just call and randomly talk about plane ticket prices. He is missing her. He has told her that he misses her. He is continuing the conversation with her. So it's always really, really important that you listen to a man's actions over precisely the words. And just because something doesn't look picture perfect doesn't mean it's not going to work out beautifully. You have to really let that soak in, ladies. Really understand that and trust that the universe is conspiring for you to have an amazing love life. Again, and Steph asked me this today, you know what I think. I don't like to forecast. I really, really love to stay in the moment because I think the magic is in the moment. So let's say that Latin Lover, she never hears from him again. I know that that would be extraordinarily difficult, and I will be here for Steph, just like I will be here for you, ladies, and we're going to support you through everything we absolutely can. But that doesn't mean that the magic ends. That means that space is being created for something new. But I also know by the way things look, my hunch is that this is going to continue and has really good potential. They have an amazing connection. And so I'm rooting for the two of them big time.
Me too. Me too. But that being said, there are a few key factors that exist right now. 1, we are not in any kind of relationship, let alone an exclusive one. Remember, he doesn't want to do long distance. 2, I have a lot of other parts of my life that I'm really trying to get put together in a way that I guess I'm trying to, knock off the dust a little bit and really expand in other areas, my career and the rest of my personal life. Like I'm really trying to build something of my own, and in an odd way, I'm kind of relieved that he's gone. Not because I don't want him here, because I want him here. I want to see him all the time. But I want that space to create something that I've been trying to create for a very, very long time.
And with that said, I know that Steph and I were talking this before we started recording today about I wanted her to focus on these things, and the love life part will be very easy. Sometimes what happens is our love life falls apart because we really truly need the opportunity to focus on other pieces of our life. It doesn't have to be perfect. Life is not perfect. It's never perfect. It's not a perfect balance. It's not a perfect anything. There's always going to be messiness in it. But
like my apartment.
Yeah. I want you ladies to feel like you have the right tools and that you have the majority of it or a good portion of it under control, where it doesn't feel like it's smacking you in the face all the time, telling you how awful you are or that you should be so insecure about anything, because those things will seep into your relationships. And if you listen to us and we talk about perception, how we women, we have to own what our perception is of the world. And if the rest of our life is crazy, we can start using that crazy lens to regard the men in our lives and put a lot of shit on them that they're not doing. That's actually coming just from us. So as much as I don't like seeing Steph in pain, it doesn't feel good. It fucking sucks, to be honest. And I can only imagine how much it sucks for her. At the same time, I'm excited because there's a lot of opportunity here. Every situation brings an immense amount of opportunity, regardless if the situation looks like complete and utter shit. Remember that. Every situation has a lot of potential, regardless of how awful it looks.
Listen, you all know what fertilizer is made of, right? Fertilizer is made of shit. And you can use it. You can use that shit to grow your fucking flowers. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it just came to me right now. And I just want you to know, like, while I'm crying, as of current, this is not my state of being. I have other things that I am very happy and excited about. And look, it's always going to be hard and then not and then hard and then not. And that's just fucking life. And I'm excited to see what happens. But I'm also like, look, I'm a little bit encouraged by Latin lovers' concern for my well-being. I enjoy it
Amen.
very much.
Amen. As am I. Okay, single smart female, it's time for the final thought on today's show.
Mantourage dating isn't for the faint of heart, but it is for the adventurous soul.
This is Jen.
And this is Steph.
Don't forget to subscribe to our show in iTunes. And if you'd like to submit a question to us, come see us at singlesmartfemale.com. And if you just want to come play around and learn more about Mantourage dating, come see us at havehimyourway.com.
Talk to you next time.